Hello, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my asexual life journey, all to help you and yours. So please subscribe and hit the bell icon right now. So in today's episode, I want to talk to you about how to be more confident, how to increase your confidence. And in case you didn't know, it's Ace Fibro Girl Awareness Month. Ace stands for Asexuals. And Fiber Girl is my superhero alias because I've got fibromyalgia. Now, in case you didn't know what fibromyalgia is, it's a chronic pain condition that affects the nerves and muscles of the body. I wrote this book and published it in 2019, and this book is all to this book explains how to manage fibromyalgia to have less pain, more energy, and feel happier like a superhero rock star. And a lot of the things I mentioned in this book apply to anyone, especially if you've got depression or anxiety or some other kind of pain in your life. So, in one of the chapters in this book, I explain how to become more confident. And I know asexuals often lack confidence. I think this is for a number of reasons. One is because asexuality is a sexual orientation that's the lack of sexual attraction, which is quite unusual. And it means we're a recorded 1% of the population. So we're a low percentage, 1%. 1% of the entire population is still huge, right? We're talking thousands of people. And so it's really important to know that you matter. And I know that some asexuals, a lot of asexuals, are introverts. And this can pose difficulties with being in social situations. If you're not practicing having contact and communication regularly with other people, then this can actually decrease your confidence and self-esteem, because the way we become good at being confident and being confident around other people is by being around other people and stretching our social muscles, if you like, stretching ourselves in terms of being around other people, communicating with other people, talking to other people, interacting with other people. The only way you get good at something is by doing that thing and practicing it over and over again, repetitively, no matter what you're doing. So, just like if you go to the gym and you repeat the exercises, you then get into shape, you get your body into shape. Then if you are wanting to improve your social skills, then you need to obviously socialize more, interact more with people to become better at that thing. So in order to increase your confidence, we have to practice being confident. So a key point to remember with this is realize you have the power of choice. This is on page 101 of the book. Realize you have the power of choice. So choose to be confident and act like it. So often what we think about expands, what we focus on expands. So if we focus on negative stuff, we get more negative stuff come our way. If we focus on things that are bad for the mind, we get more things that are bad for our mind come our way. So we have to realize that we always have a choice, and we can choose to be confident and act like it. So there's a saying that is fake it till you make it, but that isn't very good, because lots of people, they don't want to be fake, they don't want to be untrue to themselves. If, however, you are reprogramming your mind, so you're changing your conscious thoughts into some other thoughts, the only way you can reprogram your mind is through repetition. So if you want to become more confident, one of the things you can say is, I feel more confident today. And you need to understand body language and how confident people act and behave. So a confident person has more of open body language. You know, people find them approachable because their body language is open. They're not closed off, like, you know, and guarding themselves like this. They're open. They're using open body language. And by using open body language, it means you're open, you're receptive to other people. Choosing to be confident is all about doing things that a confident person would usually do, in spite of not feeling that confident about it. And the only way you can reprogram your mind is to recondition it. You might not understand or know or realize that every single day you are being conditioned. So you can either choose to be conditioned in the way that's healthy for you, or you can let someone else condition you. The news conditions you to believe and think a certain way about the world around you, about certain things. For example, in the UK, there's a store called John Lewis. It's very popular. I used to work in there. And it's been in the news a lot, my mum tells me. And I also knew when I was made redundant from the concession I worked in there in 2017, there was a lot on the news about John Lewis being really bad, like millions of pounds in debt, and it's really not good. The profits are down and all the rest of it. I went in there the other day, I think it was about a week ago, and obviously some of the same staff are there, and I spoke to the guy and said, "Oh, it's, John Lewis is really struggling." He's like, "Don't believe everything you read on the news." Because we got our bonuses and we actually got given £250 fuel allowance last year. Every one of us in our paycheck. So we're not doing bad at all, like the news is making us out to be. So you have to understand the news distorts things. It blows things out of proportion. It only shows you and filters things it wants you to see, to put fear into you, to make you scared. Because when a person's scared, they're more easily manipulated. They're more easily being able to be conditioned and to be had an impression to influence. So a lot of people use the fear tactics to influence others. Think about if you've been in any abusive relationships before. You will know that you get scared to do things right, and the more scared you are to do things, the more that person can exert power and influence over you and get you to do things you don't want to do or shut down mentally and emotionally and not say very much in order to stay safe. You go into survival mode. So in order to be more confident, we have to choose to allow ourselves to recondition our mind. If you think about conditioning and reconditioning, reconditioning is a good thing because it's leaving behind the old thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you don't want to experience anymore, which is a lack of self-confidence, which will be a lack of self-esteem if you lack self-confidence, feeling bad about yourself, feeling bad about your life and the way you are. And you're going to swap that for positive self-talk, for example, saying to yourself, I'm amazing, I'm courageous, I'm brave, I'm good. And you might not be able to go from being totally underconfident to saying them. But if you can just look in the mirror every day to yourself and say, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm an okay person, I'm okay. You have to increase your confidence little by little. It's baby steps, stepping stones. If you want to increase your body confidence, come out the shower or bath, stand in front of a mirror naked and look at yourself. Yes, you might hate it. You might not be able to stand it in the beginning, but I want you to love that body. I want you to look at that body and I want you to stroke that body and I want you to say that you're beautiful, that you love yourself. Why wouldn't you do that for yourself, right? You might praise a best friend. You might praise someone you know and say really nice compliments to them. But if you can't compliment yourself, it means you're not self-loving enough. You need to be able to love yourself because you're with yourself 365 days a year. And you do have skills, abilities, qualities that you can offer the world. You do have value. You do have worth. If someone's treated you badly and they made you feel worthless, I'm here to tell you you're not. Now, please give yourself the permission to love yourself, to think you're an okay person, to be able to talk to yourself in a loving, caring manner. You should be talking to yourself as if you would talk to a friend, a best friend who you trust and love and adore. Why wouldn't you treat yourself that way? Because you deserve to be treated that way. So a key point to remember is you have the power of choice. You can choose to be confident. And the way in which you do this is to condition yourself, recondition yourself for confidence. So the antidote to being underconfident, low self-esteem, low self-worth is to increase your confidence by what you tell yourself. The only way you're going to increase your confidence and self-esteem and self-worth is if you start loving yourself and believing you are worthy of being in this life. And so make a note with a pen and paper or a journal of things you've accomplished in your life. And don't say you haven't accomplished anything. I am sure you've accomplished something. Maybe it was in the supermarket and you were helping an elderly lady get a can of baked beans down off a very high shelf. Maybe it's you were opening the door for someone who needed to go through it. Maybe it was helping your mum lay the dinner table. Maybe it was just giving a hug to someone when they needed it. Maybe it was just phoning someone when they needed it. Maybe it was just messaging someone and making them feel special and like someone cared. Maybe you gave a gift to someone for their birthday, their Christmas, and it just made them smile. Whatever it is, I want you to think of all the positive things, the helpful things you've done in your life, and I want you to write them down, as many as you can remember. Time yourself if you want for 5 minutes and write as many things as possible. Because in order to recondition your mind that's been focused on the negative parts of you, been focused on self-worth, feeling worthless, self-esteem, having low self-esteem, you need to focus on the good things within you and raise those good things, push them to the forefront. The things you've done that have been helpful to others, the things that you've done that have achieved something in your life, however big or small. And this is the way we increase confidence, by focusing on the positive, by focusing on good things about ourselves, by focusing on what we are good at, what we need, and what we get to match those needs. So key points to remember as well is to be decisive and courageous. Force yourself to get out of your comfort zone and try new things in spite of any fears or worries you may have. Now, being decisive does definitely increase confidence. So I've had a problem for quite a number of years of my life that was only brought to a head um basically in 2021. And yeah, in 2021 I realized I had a huge problem with decision making. I couldn't make decisions easily for myself. I had a problem with deciding to do lots of things, and it really came to a head where I had to make difficult decisions for myself. And in 2021, I was really struggling back then, and I was having issues with confidence again. I felt disassociated. I went through quite a dark time at the end of December 2020, and then in 2021 I realized that I had problems making decisions, big time problems. And that was because as a child I was always made to feel that any decision I made would be the wrong decision, and therefore it just meant I couldn't make any decisions because every decision I make would be bad or wrong and be a disaster, and someone will be there to pick up the pieces because of course I was going to make a mistake and do something wrong. And so that really lowered my confidence and self-esteem. And as an adult, I found it hard to make decisions, and admitting that to myself was a really difficult thing to do. You know, when you're an adult, everyone expects you to be able to make decisions, be able to make them like responsibly, fairly quickly, and not have a problem or any issues with that. But if your confidence has been completely knocked as a child and you didn't have anyone telling you, you know, it's okay to make any decision, whatever you make is the right decision because it's your decision, and you can't make a wrong decision for you because you're not anywhere else, so every decision you'll make is the right one for you. And if something doesn't work out exactly the way you planned it to, it can still work out in your favor, and you learn from that, and it's okay. So I learned something on LinkedIn years ago. I think it was a LinkedIn comment, and it's something that stuck with me and really helped me throughout my whole entire life. And that is that are no failures in life, just lessons we learn from. And as soon as I knew there was no such thing as failure, really, and truly, then I didn't mind doing things and making mistakes, because even if it's a mistake, it wouldn't really be. It would be happening for a reason. And so when you get to the frame of mind that there are no failures, there's just lessons we learn, and there's lessons we learn, and we just grow from that experience. It makes it a lot more safe for us to push forward and to pursue something that we want to do. And so it's really important that you be decisive and make decisions, make tough decisions. And start the way you start believing yourself with decisions is have affirmations like I've got here beside my bed. You can't really see that, but there we go, right down there. It says, I make good decisions for myself. I trust every decision I make. Things are always working out for me in my favor. So yeah, when I started writing affirmations, because when I first moved home, I hadn't got any affirmations up. And so affirmations really work for me, work well. And so if I'm feeling like like I'm having problems making decisions, I don't really have problems anymore now I've got that up. But when I first moved and I had no affirmations up and I had no reassurance of myself and I wasn't repeating that to myself, I felt a bit lost and unable to make as many decisions or as quickly again. But as soon as I put that up, and I literally, my eyes always catch it every single time. I've got that type of thing downstairs in my workstation wardrobe, I've got here every day that I can see it. And I've got one similar to that in the toilet. So every time I go to the toilet and wash my hands, I'm looking at it. So constantly in my mind, I'm putting into my subconscious that every decision I make is the right decision. I make the right decisions for me. Every decision I make is in my favor. Everything is always working out for me. And by completely instilling that into my brain, I feel confident now in making decisions. I made the biggest decision of my life in lots of ways when I decided to join Blue Talks and get on their speaking programs this year. It cost me a lot of money to do that. It was a huge investment, the biggest investment I've ever made in my life, but it's continual, ongoing training. So, because I'm always having ongoing training on mentorship and learning so much every single month, it's like personal development for the rest of my life. I paid a good lump sum of money, but I get so much back from it. I get so many more opportunities that help asexuals. I get on podcasts, top rated podcasts. I learn a lot of skills, speaking skills. I've got a chapter coming up in the upcoming Blue Talks book with Ken Honda, in which I speak about how to reinvent yourself to become your future self, because that's how I did it. It's 9 steps how I did that, and I talk about asexuality in that on the podcast I've been interviewed on recently. I talk about asexuality. And so, because I'm able to make decisions for myself now, not quicker and faster, it helps me to make more progress in my life. And I'm then able to get training and mentorship so that I can become more confident. So, one of the ways you become more confident is by having someone who's been through what you're going through, who knows what to do for the thing you want to do. So, if you want to know how to be more confident, and you want someone to work through that with you, then you can hire me as your coach, for example, or mentor. And I can guide you through that, and I can help you. But it's really good to get a mentor in these things. Now I'm being mentored by Blue Talks and speaking and, how to pitch podcasters and stuff like that, and I'm having so much training. How much do you think my confidence has increased? It's increasing loads. And I'm getting used to more and more talking in front of people, in groups of people, because we have networking every month. We have multiple training sessions usually a month. And you have to like network with other people. We're always on camera with other people in rooms. So you have to be used to talking about yourself, talking to other people, talking in front of people. How do you think that's going to increase my confidence? My confidence is shooting way up. And the more I'm in that environment, the more my confidence increases. So you need to get around the right people in order to be more confident. You need to be around people who lift you up, who inspire you, who make you feel good about yourself, who understand you, but also be around some people who do challenge you in the nicest way possible. Because if no one challenges you in your life, you stay stagnant and you die inside, right? You need to be challenged in life in order to overcome challenges to grow as a person. Usually we grow through pain, some sort of pain. We grow through pain. We don't grow through life just being one continual, like, line of not doing anything, right? We continually grow. When we are learning and doing personal development, professional development, we're growing ourselves. The more we grow ourselves, the more we become confident. So if you're sat at home and you're not learning anything new in your life, you're not into personal and professional development, you're just like existing, that's not going to help you progress in your life and become more confident. And I know you probably don't want to hear me say that. I know you probably want me to hear me tell you that you can stay in your room all day and not do much, and that it's going to change your life and that you're going to become a happier person. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Like, I had depression for years and it's very difficult to get out of it. And one of the reasons I had that is because I felt like I was useless. There was no worth to my life. There was nothing worthy about me. There was nothing good about me. And I didn't have a purpose back then. And when I found my life purpose of writing and then helping asexuals, my life completely changed. But it meant getting out of my comfort zone in order to do that. It meant finding out more about myself, who I am, my sexuality, and then it meant exploring asexuality.org and discovering that, oh, there are other people like me who are asexual. And then what does that mean? Like, where do I fit in with those other asexuals? Like, what type of asexual am I? I'm attracted to guys, but I have a grey area for kissing. Where does that leave me? And so on and so forth. And then you end up with a journey of discovering. When you have an inquiring mind, a curiosity mind, about yourself and about others, then that's when the magic happens. That's when you grow in confidence, because when you become curious about life, you want to know more about it, you want to understand more about it, then you'll then venture out of your comfort zone. And by being courageous, you need to force yourself to get out of your comfort zone and try new things in spite of any fears you may have. No one is going to do this for you in life. No one is going to come and wave a magic wand and your life be magically better. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. A lot of us have magical thinking from childhood, and a lot of us, if we haven't done any conscious work on ourselves, a lot of us feel that we're waiting for someone to come and save us. We're waiting for someone to come to say they love us, to make sure that we feel so loved and so adored and cared for, that, and we want someone to validate us that makes us feel better. But that doesn't work, because one, it doesn't usually happen anyway, and two, it means you have to have the validation of other people to be feeling better about yourself. And if you rely on those other people to make you feel better about yourself, the moment they start criticizing you or saying something you don't like is the time when you'll feel so bad that will make you depressed again, right? So you don't want to be doing that. Um, you want to be trying new things as much as possible, in spite of any any doubts or fears you may have. You need to try things for yourself. So one of the things I put in here is self-date and do as many things as possible by yourself, right? So one way of raising confidence, a really important way, is to do things by yourself. Now, this may seem very difficult at first. It might seem abnormal to you, but it's one of the best things you can ever do for yourself. So I've mentioned before on this channel about attachment styles. If you don't know what attachment styles are, they are the way you attached to your caregivers when you're a child, and this impacts your life significantly. And people are attached to their caregivers in different ways. By caregivers, I mean parents, but if your parents weren't there, grandpa, granddad, aunts, uncles, cousins, even people at school, teachers, that type of thing, people whose care you were in when you were very, very small, right? And as we get older, we have trauma often from our childhood when some of our needs were neglected. Our emotional needs, our mental needs, or our physical needs were neglected, right? And so these then develop into attachment styles of how you attach to other people. And if you felt unloved as a child, then you're likely to develop difficulties later on in relationships where you're likely to feel unloved as well, right? And so the way in which you counteract the problems and difficulties with the attachment style is by getting used to being on your own. So if you're an anxiously attached person, particularly, who an anxiously attached person is more needy because at the end of the day, when they were a child, their their caregivers weren't there for them, and it made them want to cling on because it's like they feel unsafe. It's like, where's my caregiver? Then I'm upset on my own. I'm feeling lonely, left out, and my emotions are not being taken care of. I'm not having someone say, "Oh, I love you." I'm not having someone say, caring about you, giving you a hug. I'm not having, no one's there to make you feel like you're worth something and to pay attention to you, and that you're worth listening to, that you're worth talking to, that you're worth like being in life, If you've had that type of insecure attachment to your caregivers, you're going to be like a kid that is clinging to a mother's dress, trying to say, "Hey, I want some attention. Don't you love me? Please give me what I need because I'm not getting anything from you. You're just aloof, basically." And so this is how this can happen. So when you're a child, you need more. You become more needy in relationships because you developed that coping mechanism as a kid, right? And so what you need to do if you've got an anxiously attached style is, instead of relying on other people and being codependent, because that can lead you being open to abuse, you need to develop ways of communicating with yourself that are healthy through positive self-love and self-talk. And you need to find ways of spending time on your own, not just buried in projects, although it's good to put your mind into hobbies and interests and things you enjoy, but to also spend some time with yourself, like thinking about yourself and getting to know yourself and loving yourself. But you also need to spend time doing things on your own, like your own interests, your hobbies, self-dating, going to the cinema, taking yourself out for meals, going for a picnic by yourself, going for a walk by yourself. Because the more you become reliant on yourself and self-reliant, and the less you are needy on other people, the more you'll feel better about yourself. Because if someone leaves your life then, or isn't in it as much, you won't feel so left out and abandoned and upset and in pain. If you're an anxiously attached person who's used to pushing people away because of the way you were treated, maybe you were smothered as a kid, then you need to spend more time around people to counteract that. So you're opposite of an anxious person. So instead of avoiding pushing people away, you need to actually think, oh, right, I've got to try and spend some time now and get used to integrating myself with people, used to being with people, so that I'm able to function in society with people more rather than pushing people away, not being interested in people, and being so full of your own self importance that you're not consciously aware of other people around you. Because we live in a society where we do need each other to a certain extent. People are not meant to be in complete isolation from each other. One of the 5 ways to well-being is connection. I used to work for the NHS in the UK National Health Service and be a peer trainer, helping people to recover from mental ill health. And one of the 5 ways to well-being, which was what our teachings were based on, is connection. People need to be connected to other people. This includes introverts as well, because it's healthy. If you're just on your own all the time, if you have any problems or issues with yourself, you're just going to perpetuate that by going round and round in your mind. This is not going to increase your confidence. This is going to increase your anxiety about yourself. It's going to make you panic more. It's going to make you less steady about yourself and less sure. So you need to so anxiously attached people who would usually avoid being around people with people because they're scared of commitment, scared of intimacy, because it means you're vulnerable and open to getting hurt like you were as a child, right? It's like come from an insecure place that's not your fault, but as an adult, it's your responsibility, not anyone else's, just try and sort that out and think like I've got an avoidance problem. I'm avoiding conflict, I'm avoiding difficult conversations, I'm avoiding talking about my feelings, I'm suppressing and repressing, I'm pushing people away, I'm avoiding getting too attached to or too close to people in a friendship capacity. and I'm actually pushing and pushing people away. This is not healthy either. So you've got one anxiously attached person that gets more needy, and you get one avoidant that pushes other people away. Neither of these are healthy. You need to find a balance where you're spending time with other people as well as spending time on your own and being self-sufficient. This is the answer to have healthy interactions and communication and feelings with other people, but also to to you know spend time by yourself and feel comfortable in your own company. I spend a lot of time on my own, and my ideology is I need to spend more time on my own to become self-reliant more and more. But I still need to integrate myself in the world because I'm an extrovert, and it's not healthy for me to be indoors all the time. I'm indoors more lately because I've got a problem with my legs still. I've got shin splints at the moment as well as ringworm. So um pleasant, not. And anyway, so the shin splints means my basically a leg strain, so it's hard. So I can't go out as much as I would usually go out, right? So that's difficult for me. But it gives me an opportunity to spend more time with myself. The more time I spend with myself and become self-reliant and self-fulfilling, the less I need other people. So the more I can build trust with myself, build confidence with myself that I can handle any situation that comes along by myself, even though it's also good to get the help of other people and be integrated with other people. But the more freedom I want for myself, the more I have to detach myself from relying on others too much and actually go within myself and become more self-reliant, make more decisions, become self-reliant, and just love myself more. So confidence comes with mastering being on your own and around other people in healthy ways. So you've got a good balance. Don't focus on your pain, instead focus on enjoying the challenge of trying new things. This is really important because if for example you're trying to overcome social anxiety, this is a really difficult one that I have overcome, but it can be very, very hard. If you're in a group of people that really don't understand you and really don't get where you're coming from, that's not healthy, really, or good. I would suggest if you want to become better in groups, that you need to get around people who you like in a group, or at least one or two people you like in a group, so that you can actually be comfortable around someone in the group. So you feel good, you know, so that you can get used to being in groups. If you have nothing in common with the people in groups and you can't relate to them, you're going to feel left out, disassociated from them, and not feel good. So, don't focus on the pain, which is your fears and your, focus on the outcome that you want. So, for example, when I go to Bollywood event, I get nervous still. I get anxious because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going in front of loads of people. They're friends with each other from uni. Most of them know each other. Some have got girlfriends and boyfriends. I'm going into a scenario where they know each other and they're pretty much nearly all Indians, and I'm a white girl who's an outsider, and they don't even know me. And so, do you know what I mean? That's quite scary in some ways. But unlike if I focus on that scariness, that pain, that difficulty, if you like, then guess what? I probably won't go and I will just be like, oh no, it's too much. But if I focus on the joy and think and picture myself having a great time there, feeling comfortable, feeling like I'm meant to be there, that people will appreciate me being there, they'll like the fact I'm a good dancer, they'll enjoy being with me, then, I just know that the gain that I'm going to get there, the good feelings I'll get there in the end, is worth the pain. So instead of focusing on our pain and the fact that we feel nervous and anxious, we need to focus on the outcome we want. And if we keep focusing on the outcome, then we're more likely to have the desired outcome we want. If I focus on the fact I'm nervous and I go to a dance like Bollywood event and I look nervous and underconfident, what do you think people are going to do? They're going to react to me bad, like, who's that person looking weird? Because if you're underconfident, you're going to look weird. So basically, in order to be confident, like in a group of people, you need to go and act like you're confident, even if you're inside feeling like, oh my God, I don't feel that confident. And you might sit there saying, well, that's not something I can do. That's your choice. If you think you can't do that, then fine. But you're not going to make the progress in your life. You're not going to change. And if your life is miserable and you're upset right now, you need to change your life, not someone else change it for you. You need to take responsibility and change it. So many people in life think it's other people's responsibility to save them, to change their life, to make them feel better. And I was one of those people years ago. I didn't realize, I thought since being a kid, it's up to other people to take care of me, that I need the approval of other people, that I need other people to validate me, that I need other people's help to improve my life, to get better, that I needed other people to love me and to approve of me in order to feel good about myself, that that I wasn't good enough. And this is because I was looking to other people all the time, not realizing that other people can't save me. Other people can't physically do anything. I have to be the one to do it. I can have as much counseling and therapy to help me as I want, and that's good. But they help. They can't make you think, you can't make you do it for yourself. They can't make you change your life. No matter how much therapy, counseling, or everything, they cannot physically change your life for you. You have to take the actions with their advice and their guidance. If you don't take any actions and change things and do things differently, nothing's going to change. Nothing. So you can have like 10 years of therapy. I've been through a lot of therapy in my life, a lot of counselors, and I'm not knocking it. It's good. I mean, it's valuable. Sometimes you really need it, and that's what professionals are there for, right? You don't just go and have professional exercise and not get professional mental exercise, right? But there's only so much counselors and therapists can do without doing any work ourselves. Our life will not change. If we're telling the therapist or counselor the same thing over and over again, our life's not going to change. And the way we change our life is by focusing on the outcome we want rather than the problem. So we have to be solution focused. Sometimes this means reverse engineering. And what this means is you focus on the end result you want and you work backwards to how am I going to get that end result. And this does work because I've tried it. I was in a very seriously bad mental health state at the end of 2020, and I was in a situation that I felt really trapped in, and I had to think, okay, what would my ideal scenario be right now if this problem was solved? And I thought the ideal scenario that I wanted. I'm like, okay, how am I going to get it? What is it going to take? What actions I'm going to have to do? What things I'm going to have to say? What things am I going to have to do in my life to change my life? And only when I started doing those things did my life change. And it took a long time because I'm like, this is the outcome. And then this is the step before the outcome. This is all the steps. And then I need to do them. And so you do a reverse. So it changed my life. Like I said, when I found out about there are no failures in life, just lessons we learn from, but also when I found out that you have to be solution focused, not problem focused. Problem focused means go round and round. Solution is you ask yourself the question, how can I get the end result I want right now? And you focus on the end result. Like, how can I get my book published? I want my book published and out on Amazon. How can I do that? What's the steps I need to take? What's the steps leading up to that? What's the steps leading back to it? Right. And this is what you have to do with confidence in order to become a more confident person, different aspects of your life. Work on one aspect of your life at a time. If you want to become more confident with people, this means you need to be around more people, online, offline, in groups, in social situations. That's the only way you're going to become more confident, is by putting yourself in those positions. You're not going to be confident just staying in your room, not speaking to anyone. That's not going to help you, right? That might feel safe to you. It might feel better because you're protected from the four walls, but it's not actually helping you. And in your life, you're going to have to eventually get out of your comfort zone and move. Like, some people rely on their parents. They live with their parents. They're like, I don't have to change. My parents are with me. I'm fine. And then I'm like, what happens when your parents die? Like, you're just going to be alone in a room by yourself, not talking to anyone? Like, how is that going to be good for you? One day your parents aren't going to be around. They're not going to be your crutch. You're not going to be your support. You're not going to have them anymore. And if you can't stand on your own 2 feet and live alone and be happy being on your own and know how to take care of yourself, it's going to shock you to the core. It's better to make change happen for you than have it happen to you. So if you're someone who lives at home with their parents and you don't know how to take care of yourself and you can't manage on your own, then go and spend some time on your own. Move out of home. Get used to cooking and cleaning for yourself and being self-reliant. Because if you don't, and like I said, those parents die, which they eventually will, then you'll be like having the shock to deal with the death of your parents or whatever other caregivers you got around you. And you'll be having the shock of having to look after yourself. A double whammy. How will you cope with that? It's better to make change happen for you than have it happen to you. This is a way you increase confidence. You only increase confidence by making decisions and taking actions on those decisions, being responsible for yourself, doing things that are outside your comfort zone to push you and challenge you to change your life and to change what you're doing and to make a difference to your life, right? And just enjoy the challenge. Like, think of everything, a new thing, as a challenge. When I had to soundproof my flat, it's so difficult because it's a listed building. I can't do anything with the window frames, can't change the structure. And it was stressful for like a week. I was stressing. And then like by the following week, I think it took 10 days in total to like I was stressing about it, but I wasn't stressing completely because over the last few days of that time, I just think of it as an adventure and a challenge that you'll be able to do something you couldn't do before. You'll know how to do something you couldn't do before. So treat it with like that. Treat it as an adventure and a challenge and make it fun for yourself. When you make things fun and not like work, then it becomes more pleasant and accepting to you and you allow yourself to do that thing more, right? Look for evidence of when you have tried something new and that caused you pain, but you overcame it. So you can reassure yourself that you can recover should the worst happen again. This is really important to do exactly that. Look at how every challenge you've overcome in your life, whether that be social interaction with someone, whether that be actually saying no to someone when you didn't want to do something, whether that be, you know, get out of your comfort zone and being in a group activity when you're not used to doing it. Think about how you overcame the anxiety leading up to that, how you actually got through that, and then use those things that you did as the pattern you need to repeat for getting out your comfort zone again, doing something else, and making it successful and work for you. Develop more competencies in areas of interest to you, increase your knowledge and develop skills and abilities in these. When we don't learn, develop and grow ourselves, we die inside, right? We die inside because if we stagnate and we don't learn anything different, life's pretty boring for us. It's pretty mediocre. We get depressed. We don't have anything to look forward to. And life just goes on like normal, right? But you don't want normal. You want to challenge yourself. You want some obstacle you need to overcome. You want some difficulty that you need to strive for and get through. You want some hard work to push yourself, right? But if you'll develop competencies in areas you're really passionate about, you really enjoy, it's a lot easier then to excel in those things because you already love them and you have a why and a purpose and a meaning for why you're doing them. It's easy for me to get on this channel and go live when I love talking to asexuals and helping you, when I want to spread awareness of asexuality, when I want to help people with their own development. It becomes easy, right? But does it mean I can't be doing something else or developing something else while I'm talking to you? Of course it doesn't. It means I choose to be with you and develop my skills and communication in talking specifically to you. And that by pushing myself to do things that I love more and more, I grow in confidence. If you were to look back at my previous videos when I first started doing this channel compared to what I do now, my voice is different, my tonality is different, my stance is different. And so you'll be able to tell the difference, right? And so if you develop more competencies in what you're passionate about, you become good at something that increases your confidence. This may mean that you're just good at Dungeons and Dragons, for example, or you might be good at your favorite video game. If you increase your confidence in those by doing it more, practicing more, playing with more people, then that's only going to be a benefit for you, right? Because it's all increasing your confidence. Have intention of who you are and be your authentic self and show that to the world. This is your authentic self. Speak with certainty and clarity. Speak your truth and not what others would want you to say, and do not care what others think. This is so important because if you're not speaking your truth and you're just hiding who you truly are and you're being like a chameleon with different people because you want people's approval and people please and people's validation, it means you're actually deceiving other people. By not being your true authentic self, people aren't getting the real version of you that you portray, and you're portraying different people to different people, right? You're not even showing the real you. And deception is a form of manipulation, actually, which it can be a form of abuse. So you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be deceiving others into who you are or who they think you are just to please them, just to get in their good books, just for them to like you, because you're falsifying who you are in order for others to approve of you. This is not good. It's not going to make you feel good long term. And if you have to deceive someone to be liked, then it's not true like, is it? They're liking something that isn't even who you are. So it's important that you speak with clarity, speak your truth, speak your mind, speak your feelings, and say who you are. Because the world needs more authenticity, and you can't be confident if you're covering up who you truly are. It means every time you have an interaction with someone, you're having to change the way you speak to them, having to change what you say. You're actually a different person to who they perceive you to be, and you're having to keep up a pretense, and that ends up meaning that you're going to lie, you're going to contradict yourself, and you're going to be exposed eventually to be deceiving and lying to someone and not who people think you are. Or you're going to live a sheltered life, and you're going to live this shut down life when no one can truly love you for who you are, because you're even in denial about who you are and you're not showing yourself to the world. I know these are harsh words. I know there's lots of people who are asexual, who are introverted, who don't want to say things, who are afraid and scared of being themselves. And I understand because I was there myself. But if we don't be our true authentic selves, if we live in the mode of people pleasing, this is actually codependency. It's unhealthy to be saying things to people just to please them, because it's not being your true authentic self. It's like deceiving that person. It's like saying, I'm just going to behave a certain way or do or speak a certain way in order to get your approval, in order to be liked by you, in order to keep this relationship or friendship or whatever it is. Right? A true healthy relationship or friendship is when you can be yourself and you can say things the other person's not necessarily going to like, but you're both different and you accept each other's differences. Or if you can't accept them, you agree to move on and part ways, because not everyone's for everyone, right? And so you need to be aiming to grow in confidence in who you are as a person, but you can't grow in confidence in who you are as a person if you're holding back and you're covering up who you are as a person. It's not able, it's repressing and suppressing. And then if you're looking for someone else to get you out of that situation, only you can do that. You need to take responsibility for yourself. People who don't take any responsibility for their own life and own self are not living as healthy individuals. You need to take responsibility for your own life and yourself and say, hey, my decisions have led me to this life. My decisions have created this life. It's up to me to change it if I don't want this life. You are responsible for your life. You are responsible for your decisions. You are responsible for what happens to you. Obviously, if you're a child and you've got caretakers and caregivers, and you're under the control of other people in terms of where you live, that's a bit different. But in general, as we're adults, we can make adult decisions. We need to take responsibility for our own lives and realize that our own happiness lies within our own hands. And you might say, but people are horrible and hurtful. They can be. So what are you going to do about it? It's up to you to do something about it and to eliminate those people or minimize the time with those people in your life. If someone's hurting you, you have a duty of care to protect yourself. One of the ways that you become more confident in yourself is by protecting yourself, is by developing a self-esteem, by saying, hey, I'm worth sticking up for. I'm worth saying no to this person for. I'm worth not doing something that other people want me to do because I don't want to do it. I'm worth being my own best friend. I'm worth doing something for me. The more you do things for yourself, the more you can light your own cup up, the more you can make yourself feel good, the strong you'll be around other people and for other people. You cannot be strong and healthy for other people if you're not strong and healthy for yourself. So we need to work on our inner work. Our inner work being the traumas we've gone through in life, the difficulties we've gone through in life, we might have triggers from childhood or past relationships. We need to work on those. We shouldn't be burying them. We shouldn't be fighting them. We shouldn't be like, not acknowledging they've happened, because if we're in denial of ourselves and our own feelings, where does that leave us with the world at large and other people? It drains our confidence because we're not being true to who we are. And our subconscious mind will be like disassociated from the reality because we're playing two different roles, right? In order to be more confident, you need to be your true, authentic self, and you need to be in alignment with who you are. You need to understand yourself. You need to say, hey, these things aren't that great about myself. I'm not going to focus on the things I'm not great at. I'm going to focus on the things I am good at and try and improve with them. But the things I'm not good at, I might do something. If I really hate something about myself, I might do something to improve that. I've had some people and they're like, I hate my hair. I hate the color of it. I'm like, well, what are you going to do about it then? Like, you can dye your hair if you don't like the color of it. You can get your hair cut if you don't like the color of it. It's a simple fix. Why aren't you doing that for yourself? Because you don't feel like it. Everybody doesn't feel like doing something. You need to get off your backside and do something to help yourself. These are harsh words that I'm saying with love for you. Because when I thought years ago that everyone else is supposed to make my life better, if other people didn't love me, I'm not to love myself. If other people put me down, I'm obviously a shit person. If other people don't like me around, obviously I'm really bad. That's not true. That's those people. Those people are not God. They're not the be all and end all of life. There's thousands of people in the world, and there's different people will be attracted to different personality types, and different people will forge different friendships and relationships of like-minded people, right? If you'd have told me years ago there was anyone else like me in the world that's asexual and doesn't experience sexual attraction, I wouldn't have believed you. I didn't even know asexuality was a thing. I didn't know there was anyone like me who didn't want sex. I thought I was all alone, you know? I thought I was all alone, right? But I came across other people, and so because I was my authentic self. But if you're not your authentic self, you can't draw the people in that are gonna make a difference to your life and be of like minds, because you're being something you're not, and you're surrounding yourself with a cloud of like falseness. So you need to be your true authentic self, and you need to come out as a gorgeous being you are and person you are. And if someone doesn't like it, that's not your problem, that's their problem. Your mission in life is to love yourself, to get to know yourself, to get to understand yourself, to spend time with yourself, and then to healthily attach to other people. This means allowing other people into your life in a healthy way, not in an obsessive way, not in a I'm going to talk to you now, but then I'm going to push you away and not talk to you for another week. Not these toing and froing ways, but like healthy amounts of time with other people, healthy attachments to other people, right? This is your mission. Your mission is to grow in confidence by pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. No one else is going to do this for you. You've got to do it. You've got to be like, I'm really scared of doing that, right? But I want this result in my life. I want, for example, if you want to have more friends, you've got to be willing to put yourself out there and interact with more people online, in person, to get more friends. If you stay in your home behind a laptop and you're like, I want more friends, I haven't got any friends, you're not going to go anywhere in life. You have to take responsibility and control of your own life and go and make those friends. You have to put time, energy, and effort into that. I've seen people online that are going, I'm not a people person. Then the next breath, they're like, I'm really sad and upset. I haven't got any friends. I feel lonely. It's like, well, if you're not a people person, but you're lonely and got no friends, you have to change yourself to become a person who at least likes people and can accommodate people so that you can get more friends. The problem is you. If you have a problem with people, yet you want more friends and lonely, it's up to you to change yourself to like people more and interact with people more so you can get more friends. Right? You can't get more friends if you don't like people, but you want people to be your friends. It makes no sense. It's contradictory, right? So in order to be friends with more people, you have to put yourself out there and in situations where you have opportunity of becoming more friends. But don't expect someone to be your friend just because you want them to. They might not like the same things that you do. They might not have the same mindset as you, right? Choose your friends wisely. Choose smaller groups of friends. Choose people who are going to care about you and you can care back and you want to spend time with. You want to put time, energy, and effort. Some people are like, oh, I don't have anyone wanting to spend time with me and putting energy and effort into me. Then the next breath, they're like, oh, I don't really like people. I don't like spending time with them. They're too much hassle. I mean, You know what I mean? If you're saying people are a hassle, you don't really want to spend time and invest in them, why should they bother investing time and energy and effort into you and a friendship? Why? Why? You know, you can't have one rule for you and a one rule for another person, right? You have to be congruent. When you're congruent, you become confident. When you're congruent, people can trust and like you. If you're being someone you're not just to please others, to get in their good books, to get validation, acceptance, to stroke your own ego, you're coming from a selfish point of view, right? You should be friends with people because you genuinely care about someone else but yourself, and you want them to succeed in life just as much as you want yourself to succeed in life, and that you care about them, not for your own selfish desire and means that you're feeling sorry for yourself and you just need someone to butter up your ego. This is not healthy for you. It's not good for you or the other person. So the way you become confident is by being your true authentic self, the real you, sharing your real feelings and emotions, knowing that not everyone is going to approve them or like them. And and also be adaptable a bit. If you hear someone else's point of view that's different to yours, you don't have to agree with it, but you can listen to it, right? And some of us will change our mindset over time because we will be influenced by some other people, and we'll think, oh, I thought this way, but now I don't think that way so much because I've learned and changed and developed and grown as a person. And so by being your true authentic self, you can become more confident, but you also have to become confident by pushing yourself to do things you don't necessarily want to do. Just think, when you go to school, do you want to go to school? Do you want to do all that work at school? No. But someone pushed you to do it, right? And you had to get it done. You have to push yourself sometimes to do things by yourself, for yourself, even if you don't want to do it, right? Life is not a bed of roses. We have to push ourselves to do things we don't want to do, to discipline ourselves, to have the courage and conviction to do something outside of ourselves to progress in life. Otherwise, we're playing small. And playing small does not feel good. Playing small diminishes our self worth, diminishes our self esteem, because we're not feeling better about ourselves, because we're not developing and growing. We're just stagnating. Nothing's happening in life. And we're thinking, why is the same thing? Why am I not making more friends? Why am I not being happier in my life? Because you're not working on yourself. You're looking for outside external validation and for people to change your life for you. It's not going to happen, right? Yes, you can get therapists to help you. You can get counselors to help you. Please do, right? But you have to remember, you have to put in the work to change yourself. And if all you're saying is, I can't change, I can't change, I can't change, guess what? You've got no change. Then you can't blame other people or anyone else for the state of your life if you're not going to change it. You can't, because the responsibility is on you. You're an individual. You're responsible for your own self and your own life, right? Having said this, you need to be around people who are going to make you feel good about yourself in a healthy way, who are going to support you, and who are not always going to tell you what you want to hear, but they are going to be able to cheer you on, be able to support you, want you to do well, want you to succeed in your life, want you to feel good and happy and supported, and that you genuinely want to do that for them as well, right? So confidence is all about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, pushing yourself for your fears and boundaries, worries, anxieties, doing the things in spite of those. Having the words I can't eliminated from your vocabulary is very useful. My grandma always used to say that there's no such word as can't. You eliminate it from your vocabulary and you don't allow yourself to say and think those things, then guess what? Your life is going to soar in a much better way. Because once you eliminate the words I can't and you just do it and get on with it, and change things and adapt things and grow in different ways to what's good for you, the more you're going to grow in confidence. You need to make more decisions and more decisions for yourself rather than relying on people. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I had a really big problem with decision making, especially in 2021. I changed the way I had to do that, was forcing myself to make decisions, which was really scary for me and uncomfortable and really worrying, right? And I'm like, you need to make more decisions, better decisions, quicker decisions. You need to make decisions. You need to know you can't fail. Whatever happens, you're going to learn something from it. If you put some money into something and it doesn't work out, you've lost the money, but you can gain money back again. Obviously, I'm very careful about where I invest my money, right? Sometimes we get scammed. Sometimes we lose money. Sometimes things work out amazingly well. But the more decisions we can make for ourselves and the more things that do work out for us that we've made decisions off our own back, the better it is, the more in confidence we can grow. Right. So whatever you tell yourself is true. You tell yourself you can't do something, you can't do it. Because your mind, you've programmed your mind to not be able to do that thing. right? In order to program your mind to be able to do something you couldn't do before, you have to tell your mind, I can do this. I can do this. And you're going to be put into a situation in your life where you're going to have to do things whether you like it or not, because you're going to get dumped there. The universe will dump you into situations you don't want to be in to test you and to force you to be able to cope in that environment and cope in those things. It will put you in the thing you don't want to be in because you're trying to resist it and you're trying to hide from it and not face up to it. So it will give you those challenges over and over again. And you'll be like, why is my life so shit? Why is my life crap? I keep getting these same problems because you're hiding from them. You're denying them. You're not sorting them out. So until you face up to the reality of them and you expose yourself to them and say, hey, I've really got to deal with this now, then you're not going to progress in your life and change for the better. So it means that we have to push through our fears, push through our barriers, and put ourselves in uncomfortable positions for ourselves in order to grow and develop as people. And it takes a lot of courage to do this, but you're not going to grow in confidence unless you push forward and do these things for yourself. The more self-reliant you are in a healthy way, not to the point of obsession that you don't have anything to do with anyone else, but because people do need people, you need connection as one of your ways to well-being. But if you push yourself for your fears and barriers and do more and more things on your own, the more confident you'll become on your own, the more you'll be able to cope with life on your own, which you need to be able to do. Because like I said earlier, parents aren't going to be around forever. Even if you've got extended family members, they're not always going to be there for you. There's going to be time when they're going to die, right, and go. I hate to say this, but it's true. And if you can't cope and live on your own and be there for yourself and know how to interact with people and feed yourself and clothe yourself and bathe yourself and function in life without other people, it's going to be a rude awakening when that happens. You're going to have the loss of those in your future and you're not going to be able to deal with it. You're going to have a massive breakdown and depression. You want to stop that? Then you look ahead and think, hey, I need to prepare for this. I need to be self-reliant. I need to make my own money. I need to put my own roof over my head. I need to be able to make myself happy. I need to be able to date myself. If I don't get a date, it's fine because I can date myself.